When we have these ideas for films, you know, we've worked on chapter 2. That idea of the club scene went from the red circle to now let's do the baths in Rome. You know, and what else could he do? He's running for his life. I think, what if he gets a horse and then starts to ride? Yeah, let's do that. And the character is still kind of running under the pressures of the high table. At the end of 3, are you pissed off? You know, Winston shot him off a building. He's excommunicado. Chad really hooked into this idea of trying to study John Wick through the situations of other characters, and he was really drawn to the good, the bad, and the ugly. And so enter Donnie Yen as Kane, and Shamier Anderson as the tracker. We have Hiroyuki Sanada, who I worked with on 47 Ronin. He has a daughter who's working with him, and that's the incomparable Rina Sawayama. And then the antagonist of the piece, the Marquis, Bill Skarsgård. You're kind of following their stories as they're trying to get John Wick, and Kane and John Wick have a past. The tracker is kind of a younger character who's kind of outside of it, who's not an assassin, but then takes a deal to force to become an assassin, and these characters come after John, and then there's moments where we have to work together against the table. So that dynamic is a way of opening up the world. Who are these other characters that exist in this world? And then how do they interact with John, and how does John interact with them? Yeah, I mean, as soon as Derek Kolstad had these assassins come into this house to attack John Wick, and once John Wick took care of business, brought these gold coins and said, you know, I'd like to make a reservation. It was like, whoa, okay, well, what can that turn into? What is this other world? And it's been a wonderful pleasure to come up with things, you know, what are these rules? And at the base of that, too, is Chad's belief that the more kind of ceremony that we can present with the high table is good to elevate them, because we don't want to show the faces. Like, we don't want to do like, here's a table and there's 12 of them and they're all sitting like, no, you don't see them. You never see them. But I think we can all relate to the idea of them. And so it's been cool to tap into that personally and then to put it into the art and then have that as this kind of overarching thing, and then have a character seeking a kind of liberation from that. We wanted to bring the muscle cars back. They found this cool Barracuda, so now it's like smashing people, hitting people, getting on it, throwing them off with like little 180s and sending them off. And then there was the drift around the car shooting at people. Then we were doing like 3 lanes of traffic, and so there's gunfights within traffic, and then some judo, and then there's dog hits. We can talk about the dogs later, and then, or talk about the dogs. Back from chapter 3, but now painted in here in chapter 4 with Andrew, the dog master. The training went longer than 3 months, and it was 5 days a week, 4 hours a day. So it was a 2-hour morning session, lunch, 2-hour afternoon session. And for me, it's just been awesome to work with these stunt people and just have what they shared with us was the affection that they have for the John Wick films. Because John Wick action is a little different. It's a lot. Because Chad wants reality, he wants Rex, he wants it to feel real. He wants the beautiful violence. And so do we, and so do they. But all of these people have just really taken care of me. If they like John Wick, they like him because Sharon likes him. And I think what Lance brought to the role of Sharon, even from the beginning, I think it wasn't even rehearsal. It was like we were on the set and we were kind of there, and Lance said to Chad, I have this accent that I've always wanted to do. Chad was like, let's hear it. And so he did it, and then Chad was like, okay. And Lance was like, really? He's like, yeah. And so Sharon was born. And the elegance of that performance and that person, and you know, just kind of the heart of that character. You know, you feel it when John Wick walks into the hotel lobby the first time, and he just kind of looks up. Having Ian McShane back, just such a joy to work with and such a unique and special talent person. And getting a chance to act with him again, and then how do we develop his story, and then what organically came out of that. And it's nice to see McShane being part of Avenge and Revenge. The incredible Laurence Fishburne as the Bowery King, where I had safe harbor. And for me personally, Fish is safe harbor. He's been such a mentor to me since working on The Matrix in 1997. So it's, we have a friendship, and it's cool to be working with him again. And what he brings to the Bowery King is so special. And who else could be the king? He's extraordinary in the sense of how he's grown, how he matriculates all of his inspirations and his knowledge and his practicality. So to me, he's the director. He's also got a great hand and ear for script and for production. He knows how movies get made. And here, being on chapter 4, I say these John Wick films for Chad and I are like we prepare a meal. We're the chefs, and he's the head chef. I'm a sous chef. And then we find the ingredients. We're putting it together. And that partnership has been really fun and some of the best creative days for me. If you enjoy the world building of the John Wicks, then we have a lot of fun stuff in store. We have new characters, new levels of action for John Wick action, the production design, the scale, the scope, a lot of big rooms, high ceilings. We're in Berlin, we're in Paris. We have amazing thespians and costume design. There's other themes that are coming back from all of different versions of all of the films. So there's stuff that you can recognize, and then there's new things. We're trying to cook up a beautiful feast with multiple courses and some nice wine. So sit back, see it on the big screen, eat some popcorn, and John Wick.